Hey everybody, my name is Brook Eneas and I am the CEO of Rock the Stage Fitness, which is a company designed to help girls get into the absolute best shape of their lives for a pageant stage. So I focus on nutrition, fitness, and of course mindset. I've been able to do that with so many girls, beautiful girls, for many years, including our guest today, who is Hannah McMurphy Maxwell, newly married. And she's going to be joining us. She's a former Miss Alabama USA. And so I'm excited to be able to welcome her to this show. Not only is she a beautiful person, but she is so funny. I could not wait to have this conversation with her. In fact, we had a podcast some years ago together, episode on a different platform. And long story short, I so enjoyed her. I was like, I could not have her on this launch of Rock the Stage Fitness podcast. So I'm going to introduce her formally. You'll get a chance to hear more about her, and we'll just catch up in regards to her life and where she is right now. So let's start. Today's guest is a woman whose story reflects resilience, growth, and grounded confidence. Hannah is best known as Miss Alabama USA 2019, but her journey continues to evolve in powerful ways beyond the crown. Hannah's path to the title was shaped by perseverance, overcoming bullying early in life, and choosing to build confidence from the inside out. Pageantry became not just a platform, but a place where she learned to trust herself, refine her voice, and step fully into her potential. I've had the privilege of working with Hannah as her pageant prep fitness coach, watching her approach training with intention, consistency, and respect for her body. Today, Hannah is embracing a new season of life. She's recently married and building a career as a realtor and applying the same work ethic, confidence, and people first mindset that shaped her pageant journey into her personal and professional life. In this conversation, we're walking through every chapter. So please welcome Hannah McMurphy Maxwell to the podcast today.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I so deeply love every single one of our conversations, so I cannot wait for today.
Yes, it's so good. It's so authentic, and I'm just grateful. So I'm still due for a coffee date though, because I told you last time, I'm like, Hannah, listen, I just want to sit and have coffee with you.
Anytime. Anytime.
So authentic, so lovable. Everything that you would really want in close proximity to your life is Hannah. So I want to start first, Hannah, by asking you what is one routine or one habit that kind of keeps you grounded in life in general?
It's so funny. We were actually talking about this not too long ago, me and one of my friends, and it seems silly and maybe a little contrite, but my everyday habit, the one thing that I start my morning with, for some people it's their coffee or it's, their meditations or something like that. But for me, it's it's making my bed. It's making my bed, and you can thank my mom, my aunt, and my grandmother for that one. From a very young age, they taught me, if you're gonna do something, you better do it right. And, as a preteen or an elementary school kid, that's the last thing that you wanna do is make your bed, right? And so if it wasn't done the right way, I was made to start over and, it quickly sunk in that I better do it right. And I actually read somewhere that, people who make their bed every morning are projected to be more successful than those who don't because it's the one thing that you start your day with and, it's like a little task that's checked off and you feel better, in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I laughed because I was like, man, she's about to say something really profound. Like you're like, most people do this and most people do that. You're like, and I make my bed. But the truth of the matter is, it is profound. That's the truth of the matter. Even though I giggled, it's true because that one little discipline is what, sometimes people just lack discipline all around, and it's because they
Mhm.
have not been taught. So, like your mom, your grandmother, those who came before you understood it. It's the little things that make a big difference for bigger things. It's those little tasks, those little habits every day, right? That seem so boring and so unnecessary, but they matter. And so I love that you shared that. And so, ladies, make your bed, number one. And I need to go back and retrain my sons. Okay, my next question is, do you remember your early pageant days? Because I'm actually asking this question intentionally because it was so funny when I asked you before. What makes you smile looking back now? And I don't know if you're going to tell the same story or not, but if not, I'm going to ask you again.
Absolutely am, because that's where it all started. And I can't help but smile when I think about, 17-year-old Hannah starting her pageant journey. Um, we had no idea what we were doing. So it came down to taking senior portraits to where, we're in Alabama, so it was really big to, girls would be out in a field in their big floppy hats. This was also like circa 2015, 16. The fashion was very different, okay? But instead of that, because everything that had been happening at school, and I'm sure we'll kind of delve into that later, my mom was like, I want to take you to do something, number one, that's different. And number two, that is going to make you feel beautiful and feel comfortable in the young lady that you are. And so she took me to see Frank Cornaggio in Birmingham, and he is a renowned, still to this day. He does pageant headshots, he does modeling portfolios, he does the whole nine. Well, I'm sitting in the makeup chair with Makeup Mel, and she asked me, she's like, have you ever considered pageants before? And I'm like, me? This girl? No, I have not. There was another girl that had competed at Alabama Teen USA for a couple of years, and it was Bailey Catherine Smith. So beautiful. She was loved by everybody at her school, but I'd seen her compete and I was like, I'll never make it to that point. Like, I think it's admirable that that's what she does. And I think it looks like so much fun, but no, long story short, I have not. And she was like, well, you should consider competing in Miss Alabama USA or Teen USA. And I was like, okay. So I kind of let that roll off my back. And my aunt, my mom, they get to talking. They're like, I think this would be good for you. And so we set off on this journey, and just not knowing that very first year that I competed, it's ingrained in my brain, like the image of me. My tan was about 5 shades too dark. We panicked and had my hair done and glossed. It was black. This is pretty dark, but my hair was black. It was around the days that you had to do your hair and makeup by yourself. So my eyes were also black from all the makeup, like the eyeliner and the eyeshadow. I had on a royal blue sateen trumpet styled gown that was strapless. And after discovering my body type, that most definitely was not flattering. I wish we could put a picture of it, like right here. Um cuz it is a sight. I tell you what, it is a sight.
And it is so funny because, and if you're watching and if you have competed before, you know that that first time you went, you learn some things that you probably should not have done. So it's comical at this stage. It wasn't probably funny then, but
Mm,
as you keep growing, you look back and you're just like, what was I thinking? But you did your best. And what I love is that y'all took on a challenge. And then you had your mom and your aunt right there, your hype squad, they were ready, right? To be like, Hannah, we're doing this. Yeah. And so, but you learned and you grew. And then you ended up winning Miss Alabama like years later, something you thought was super impossible
I
ended up
did.
being, yeah, it was your destiny. And I love when that happens, when you didn't think it was possible, you still take the action steps forward. And then you're just like, wow, I never even knew. Those moments for me in my life have really mattered. Probably the most significant moments in my life because it proved to me that there was something more in me than I knew.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Most definitely.
yeah. As you've grown, how did that shape your confidence? So starting with again understanding context wise for those of you who may not have known, we mentioned it earlier, but you were being bullied and then all of a sudden you're walking through all these transformations, right? And you're coming into your own. I just want to know how did that process look in terms of confidence? How did it shape you?
I think that's kind of a tough one. And I feel like the word bullying, I think, is so overused. And like, for me, it was more of like verbal and emotional manipulation type of situation, both in a personal relationship that I had at a young age, and then what I was also experiencing from my peers in school. So I don't, because bullying can mean a thousand different things, right?
That's true.
It can be something super small, it can be something super big, but it was enough to make an impact on me. It definitely made me question, like, am I a good person? Like, am I what these people are saying I am? And I feel like that's where pageantry kind of came in as an outlet, because I had the chance to show myself that I wasn't those things. To kind of rewrite the story, and not in a way where I was trying to hide anything or escape from something that I wasn't, because, in hearing different things and like kind of recounting the past, I've asked myself, did I do X, Y, and Z? Should I apologize to these people? But they were people that I had quite literally never come into contact with. So they didn't know me. They didn't know my heart. And that's something that my mom and my aunt were constantly reminding me of. And, that's kind of where pageantry came into play. And it started as, I'm going to build my self confidence back up to, mimic the young lady that I know I am. In the beginning, it was definitely like a profound molding moment for sure.
Mm. I wonder how many women's voices have been stolen, right, by virtue of somebody else's misconceptions, misalignment, all
Mhm.
the misses, right? Just throwing so many darts and with the intention literally of destroying a person's self-worth, a
Mhm.
person's value. And I think it comes from a really deep space, honestly, in the other person's heart that they don't even realize is there. And it's not good. I find that it's super evil because you could have gone one of two ways. And again, that's why I keep talking about your mom and your aunt and crediting them for saying, hey, no, this isn't going down like this. And just having people around you who will believe whenever you feel super weak, especially at such a young and vulnerable stage. We all know and we can remember, and you may be a teenager and how other people's opinions of you matter in that moment. They may not be true, but they sure do matter in the heart space, and they seem as if they're piercing the heart, and like life is not going to get better, but it does, right? And it's just based on the decision that you make on whether or not you're going to believe it, the lie, and really come to grips with who you are or not. So, wow. I want to know then, winning Miss Alabama years later, so we're fast forwarding quite a bit. What did it mean to you then internally and not just publicly? I watched your crowning moments and your pictures.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I was like, "Man, that's so special." What did that mean to you? Because we saw the emotion on your face.
Yeah, I think, especially from the day that I competed as a teen contestant, not knowing what I was doing. And I just wanted to treat every year after that. And really not even knowing if I would get to the point of being Miss Alabama USA. And so after my second year in Teen USA, I told myself that I was going to start taking it much more seriously, because, to be honest, as a teen, I was like, I don't really know if it's something that I want. But the second that I entered into the Miss division, I was like I'm going to put my mind to this, because now it is something that I want. But it was also the culture and the people that I was surrounded by. I mean, Paula and Ryan were cornerstones in the USA industry for so long, and like having that love and that support, not only from your family, but from a production company, no less. It just meant the world to me that they instilled so much in their young women. And so each year was treated as a learning year, right? So, I would call and I would ask, what, and they can't really give you your comments. And I hate that, but they couldn't. But they could tell you, oh, you need more work in interview, or you need more work in swimsuit, or this or that. I called the office one year, and it was revealed that my gown was not suitable for my body type. So I was like, okay, that's an easy fix. That was my very last year, the year that I won. And so I walk into the close tree by Deborah, love Miss Deborah, and I'm by myself. Usually I've got my mom and my aunt with me, and I'm by myself. I'm trying on dresses. I found a $400 prom gown, and I sent it to my aunt and my mom. And not even 5 seconds later, and my hey was like, that's it. That's your dress. And so instead of spending, thousands of dollars on couture, I found something that fit me, who I mean, at the time, it represented who I was extremely well. It was everything that I wanted. And I gave it my all. I didn't know what was going to happen that weekend. I think at one point my feet were just so sore and I was so tired. I was like, I'm so excited to see who wins because I can't wait to lay my head down on my pillow tonight, right? Because those weekends are long, like
They're
they're
long,
taxing
for sure.
extremely.
Yeah.
And then, they start calling girls 20, 15, the 10. And I just wanted to make it back into the 10. My very first year in Miss, I had made it to top 10. So I was like, my goal is just to make it back into the 10. Well, goal achieved when they called my name for the 10. I was like, yes. And then the 5 comes around. I'm the last one to get called into the 5. So elated is not even the right word. Like there is no word for that. And then the 5 starts dwindling down, and then it's me and my first runner-up standing there, and I had this very short moment of doubt to where I was like, "You better have a good loser face ready," basically is what I was telling myself. And then in that same instant, because I'd just been praying and praying and praying and crying out to the Lord, like, "If this is what you have for me, like, I want you to use me." And so within that split second, I heard, "It's not her, it's you." And about that time, Tim says my title and I'm announced. And so, like, the confidence that was gained over the years, it wasn't just what I wanted people to see on stage. It was asking myself, like, who am I? Like, how can I be the most true to myself throughout this entire process rather than becoming something that I think the judges want to see? And so I feel like that process has definitely transferred over into my adulthood. But things are different, between interview stage and then transitioning out of that. Like, I don't know, it's just different, but it was definitely a huge stepping stone.
Yeah, what you just said, I think is really hopefully resonating in the hearts of every listener because you stayed true to yourself. And I think sometimes we look for just like, and there's nothing wrong with refinement, right? I think preparation should help you to discover who you are and also help to refine who you are so that when you step on stage, you are the best version of yourself. And I think sometimes girls try and step into the best version of who they think they should be, and the truth factor is missing. And so the authenticity that should be there and the level of confidence that comes from true authenticity is lacking.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's easy to put on a mask and it's easy to put on a performance. It's just not sustainable. And then you find yourself kind of being empty whenever you get even if you get the crown, right? It's just like, I still feel empty. Like it's not what I thought it would be. But if you prep well and you walk through the process better, it doesn't still mean that it may not be what you thought. But at least you would have gained along the way. Yeah.
I think that was what was so confounding whenever I went to Miss USA is I was expecting one thing. I was expecting all the girls to be prim and proper and, tied up with a neat little bow. And to get there and then to meet all of these incredible women, and I mean that truly. I love every single one of my girls that I competed with. We actually got to see each other's character. And it wasn't just the posts that you saw on social media. It wasn't just the things we had achieved. And like we're real people. We are real young women who were just all chasing after the same goal. And so it was very refreshing to see that side of pageantry. Because I will say, like, competing in USA in general, it never left a bad taste in my mouth. Never met one bad egg. I know there may be some girls who have a different story than me because one rotten egg can ruin a whole dozen. But for me, I was just so honored to be surrounded by that community and to meet girls who were like-minded and strong and smart. And it's still an honor to this day that I'm considered one of them.
Wow. Yeah, it's very special. Very, very special. And I just want girls to know that it's possible. Like, if I don't hear anything else, Hannah, from your story, it's just the possibilities. And all of us are made in a very unique way. There's purpose in all of us, there's a calling for all of us. You just really have to believe it and embrace it, and then really again be willing to discover what that deeper meaning looks like for you. And what I appreciate again is just your mindset, the transformation of your mindset throughout the years, and you being able to share that with us today. So listeners, no matter where you are on the journey, like there's a spectrum here. And I think that it continues throughout life. I think that as you keep going and growing, you keep discovering. And again, there's things inside of you that you're just gonna eventually just kind of reach and tap and unlock. And I think just kind of blow your own mind as you begin to discover more. I want to know just in terms of fitness prep, because that's why girls are logged in.
Mhm.
So, pageant fitness prep can be very confusing for most. And I've heard some really unsettling trends lately. And I won't repeat them by virtue of just my clientele and them saying, one girl told me that she's doing this. And I'll just say that it's very risky.
Mhm.
And so, I just want to know for you, how did your mindset shift as we were preparing you for Miss USA? Because, or actually Alabama USA, that's kind of where I sat with you
Mhm.
before RPM. And I just want to know just how did your mindset shift throughout the process in regards to either your relationship with working out or with food?
Mhm. Well, I would so you taught me a lot. Let's just go ahead and that's let me preface every bit of this next bit with that. You taught me so much. Um, you taught me that fitness and like I don't know, we all have this idea of what a pageant perfect body looks like. Um, and I'm not 6'1", I'm not even 5'11", I'm 5'8", right? I've got very short legs. Somebody literally called me legs in high school because they were just short, stocky, and I was a dancer. And I hadn't really lost on my baby weight yet. So the first time that I actually was in touch with a fitness coach, it was you. And just learning how accessible it is. So it doesn't have to be those, those hour-long gym sessions. It can be the 15 or 20 minutes that you have on a lunch break or whenever you're done with class. And I think for me, my preconceived notion of physical fitness was actually getting in the gym for an hour, 2 hours, running on the treadmill until I was drenched in sweat, and you showed me that there was another way, and there was a way to do it healthy. Relationship with food was not strained by any means, but you definitely taught me that there is a healthier way to take care of my body, and that is one thing that I am so grateful for because it's not restricting yourself, right? It's just making sure that you're filling and fueling your body with good, healthy foods. And that's something that I still carry with me to this day.
Yeah. It's so good because I feel like with the addition of social media, it can be really, really helpful and very, I think, valuable to people's lives if you are following the right people. But as soon as you start kind of just, I guess, following all the trends, it becomes extremely dangerous. And I have a genuine concern
Mhm.
because after pageantry, there is life. So I want to know for you, just in terms of having the right coaches, why does that matter?
Well, I think it's a matter of surrounding yourself with people that listen to you. First and foremost, like if you are the one that is putting your body not under stress, but you're putting your body through this process. You're putting this your mind through this process. I think there are beautiful things that can come out of it, but there are also detrimental things that can come out of it. And the voices and the people that pour into you are just as important as the girl competing because if you have a coach that's telling you you're this and you're that and it's in a negative light, well, you're going to start to believe it. And the danger lies in those words because what happens when you start to believe it and then you take it to the extreme. And that was something that I'm so grateful that I never experienced. I know girls who have, and my heart breaks for them because this is supposed to be a process that leads you into the young lady that will eventually become a young woman and then a mom and a wife and all of those beautiful things and maybe even a successful mogul in your field. Like it's just a wide array of things that you can become just because of pageantry. And so having coaches that listen to you and care about you, that love you, that is a non-negotiable in my book.
Yeah, so powerful. So as you ladies, you're making decisions and trying to figure out what to do next. You deserve people who are exactly what Hannah just described, and they do exist. Believe it or not, I know there's many in the industry that may not represent that, and you just want to be cautious of what you allow. So, Hannah, what would you say as we come to a close today to those who are listening? Or if you could tell your younger self a bit of advice, what would that be?
I just hold tight to the things that really matter because once the lights are off, you take off the makeup and you remove the hair extensions and the gorgeous heels, what you're left with is number one, yourself, and then you're left with, connections and friendships and people that you'll cherish for a lifetime. So stay in the moment and focus on the things that matter, staying grounded in something, whether it's your faith or your routine, because I feel like in this world and in the world of pageantry, it's very easy to lose sight of who you are, um, and to try to become something that you're not. And I know it's said all the time throughout the pageant community, and it sounds like such a cliche, and I'm so sorry for this, but your identity and your uniqueness is 100% your superpower in this world. Nobody else can be you at the end of the day. Like, you are one of one. And I think that is such a beautiful thing. And that's why pageantry is so beautiful, because it's a celebration of all these gorgeous young women coming together to celebrate those differences. So don't try to be like somebody else. Just remain true to who you are and focus on what matters for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Great advice. Ladies, journal this. Go back and watch it again. Like, share, subscribe, as I always say, to the channel, because I really believe that whenever you apply what you're learning in all of these episodes on this podcast, that is really helping you, honestly, to become. You're going to look back and just remember what Hannah said. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. Hannah, can't thank you enough. And so, ladies, if you need a fitness plan or food plan, the two bundled together, my information is posted below. Would love to have a conversation just to see if it's a win-win. So thank you all again for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next episode. All right? Bye, everyone.